in session. All right. Just a reminder, anybody who doesn't want to be on the recording, just don't talk. So that means you, Sharon, no talking allowed.
Okay.
No, you were really nervous to come on here and hang out with us.
No, not really. But
No? But I'm excited to try this, as is Fred, because it's a simple recipe. Seemingly, this is a recipe people make regularly, but it seems really complicated for a lot of people. But
very simple. This is the healthier approach.
uh-oh. Healthy.
You're not putting all the breadcrumbs in and all that. It's from Lydia's pot, a pan, and a bowl cookbook.
Okay.
And I'm a big fan of her cooking and her restaurants. So when I got this book, I decided I'll take a look to see what looks interesting. We love eggplant parmesan, and with the chicken, it just takes it to a different level, and it's very easy. And whatever you don't eat, you can freeze.
There you go. I think I'll eat it all. So I'm going to go over the ingredients real quick. I actually had a hard time. I had to go to 3 stores to find an eggplant. I was like, what?
I did too. I went to Schnucks. They didn't have any. I was going to go to Fresh Time, and I thought, oh, I'll stop at Deerberg's. And they had to haul them out from the back. They didn't even have them out front.
Yep. So Italian eggplant, kosher salt, 1.5 pounds of skinless chicken breast, and then we're gonna have to slice that thinly. I'm gonna have to figure out how to do that. Now,
I'll show you.
You said you don't put flour in it, but in here it says
I put flour. I don't put breadcrumbs on.
Okay.
Because traditionally, when you do an eggplant parm, you bread it. You dip it in egg and then you bread it.
All right. Extra virgin olive oil as needed. 4 garlic cloves and a can of tomatoes. And then you had said eperocino flakes. Is that a type of pepper?
It's red pepper flakes.
Okay.
Red pepper flakes.
And then 1/4 cup chopped fresh basil, which I'm in the recipe. I missed that because it was like the pepper flakes and the basil were on the same line. And I missed that there was 2 things on
No, but don't worry about that. I hardly ever have the fresh basil if I just want to make this and put it together, and I just use dried. It's just as good.
Yeah, I would just mention that the reason I don't do this sometimes, well, generally in these recipes, they ask you to salt that eggplant to draw the moisture out, and I'm kind of a low salt guy, so.
Well, that's part of the healthy thing of this also, because you're not salting it.
Good, I like that part. That I thought that's what I liked about it also. Yeah.
And then it says 1.5 cups mozzarella and a 1/2 cup fresh grated. Oh, you're going fancy on the parm here, huh?
Or I have a hard time getting that here also, so we're just
Grana Padano. But yeah,
we're just gonna use some Parmesan.
And I was lazy and I actually bought pre-grated Parmesan. No, just like, because I have lots of parm. It's one of my favorite snacks. It's just, it's one of those cheeses that stay good for a really long time. So
yeah,
really good. You just slice a piece off, and it's very good. If you get a good
I
parm.
actually use it for when I travel too, because it's a lower fat cheese. I don't have to refrigerate it when I travel. Like I can keep a chunk and just eat a piece of it as it goes. It's probably not.
you can also save the rinds, keep them in the freezer, and put them in like soup or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not wasting any.
I use that too.
All right.
All right, ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. Well, I've made this recipe several times, and first time I made it exactly the way the directions say. And as you make things over and over again.
Personalize them, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, a recipe is just a guide to go by. It's not nothing written in stone. So it's like, I did make this earlier today, so I can show you what it looks like.
Oh, this is one of those fancy shows where you could have put it in the oven and then just right immediately take it out.
This is like Martha Stewart.
Can you see, there's a big box in my thing.
No, we can see it. We can see it.
Okay,
Yeah,
so that's what
beautiful.
it looks like. And
Oh,
it's,
that's
Beautiful. That's a nice pan. Look at that big cast iron pan.
Yeah, big cast iron pan.
that's another thing. It says to, let me get this off of here. It says to put it into a. Okay. Non-stick. I've done it in the cast iron, it comes out great. The second one I'm gonna do in a non-stick pan.
Okay.
So you can do, I mean, and that one, I did not have the San Marzano tomatoes, I had crushed San Marzanos. So that's what's in there. So, you know, you just can use what you have on hand.
Yeah, so my favorite is I love these crushed fire roasted tomatoes. I'm
Yeah,
addicted and I keep these in my kitchen all the time. And so that's mine, my go-to. I'm addicted to those because I don't know, the fire roasted elevates the taste.
yeah, whatever your go-to is.
Yeah, the San Marzanos are a little pricey too. As tomatoes go, canned tomatoes.
Well, Costco has them at a good price.
Just to let you know, I will be cooking along and I noticed you already have your cans open and stuff like that. So I'll be behind the timing of this if we're doing
Well,
this.
I don't have anything open, but you know how fast I go, so.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, I just did prepped a lot of stuff, so because I didn't really know how it was.
And
gonna go.
I did not. I did skin some garlic, so that's
Well, my garlic are these giant elephant garlics. That's one clove.
Okay, so the first thing we're gonna do is we're going to put a few strips off the eggplant with your vegetable peeler.
All right.
I usually do about 4 of them, one on each side.
Oh, okay. Not the whole thing, just
No. Just kind of like this.
Suzanne
Oh.
trying now.
Make it look pretty.
Yeah, it does.
Let's see.
And then it calls for 12 slices of eggplant. So what I'm gonna do is on the angle in the middle.
All right,
I'm
I'm still behind. You cut the tip off, right?
Yeah, I cut the tip and the bottom off.
All right.
Yeah, tell me if I'm going too fast.
Cut the tip and the bottom off,
Mhm.
Okay, so Lulu's got her tip and bottom cut off.
and then I'm gonna.
Go get her peeler.
You just said like 4 peels.
Yeah, you should do one on each side, you know, quarter it.
Well, this one, what's going on with this peeler?
Stop from the top, start from the top,
Okay.
it's easier.
Okay.
Probably need sharpening, probably. Those peelers need
Oh,
to be sharpened.
this one right here is this one's got big teeth on it, so let's find
Oh,
one.
No, that's no good.
Yep, here's the one. I need the one with just the straight blade.
Yeah.
That's what this show is about, showing all my mistakes, right? Oh yeah, there you go. Straight blade. So you said about 4 slices off of it. What's the purpose of this?
Just to take away some of the bitterness of the
Yeah.
skin.
Yeah, the skin has a tendency to be bitter, so.
There we go. All right, 4 of them, and then we're trying to cut this into 10 slices.
12 slices, and you're gonna cut it on an angle. So I'm gonna cut it lengthwise in half. Because that way I can get my 6 slices. Just makes it easier for me. If you want to do the whole thing, you can do that. If you figure you can eyeball it better than.
What's the width of your slices? They look rather thin.
Well, if you just cut it in two, cut across it, then you
About-
get 6 slices of each part, whatever,
It's about,
according to the size.
it's about a ½ inch, a quarter inch to a ½ inch.
Yeah.
And
just
why
cut-
why on the bias? It makes the last two pieces on either end kind of goofy.
That's what the recipe calls for. If you want to cut them straight across, go right ahead.
No, I'm good to do it that way. I just didn't know if they said why.
I don't know either. It makes a little bigger slice. Maybe that's the reason, but that's the only thing I can think of.
Well, I do know it's easier to cut it this way because it's harder to cut through that skin.
Yeah, maybe that's it. I don't know.
Hey, who's your assistant back there? Is he gonna help you out?
Is your technical advisor?
I don't think so. I'm not allowed in the kitchen.
Are you the eater?
Excuse me?
Are you the eater of this group, of your group?
It just like someone has to eat it. But yeah, I mean I know that eggplant, the skin is usually tough to cut through.
Yeah.
This way makes it a lot easier to cut.
Or you sliced it the wrong way, or,
I did?
yeah. You're supposed to slice it across, not that way. You sliced it the wrong way.
I
So
sliced it up and down.
let's see what your slices look like.
Like,
Yeah, I guess it'll be okay. You're
It's okay, but you're supposed to slice it across the other direction.
so it ends up being a circle?
Yeah,
Like this.
yeah, like that.
Ta-da!
We're not sure why, but that's how it's normally done.
It's kind of pretty, actually.
Well, I did mine wrong then because I thought
It'll still work. It'll still work.
It's
Yeah.
gonna taste the same. I notice the seeds sometimes are bitter in my experience.
It's just like cutting the orange the wrong way. It's still good.
Yeah.
It's still an orange.
Bye, everyone. Have fun.
Right.
So the next thing, what you're gonna do is you're just gonna kind of heat a pan of oil and have. You're gonna add to this because I've noticed that the eggplant does soak up the oil more than the chicken will.
so how hot of a temperature? Let's see.
Medium
I
high
want
heat,
more of a frying surface probably, yeah.
yeah, medium high heat.
Kind of like sauteing them.
No, you're cooking them. They're looking. They're recommending a non-stick pan.
Mhm.
I've cooked it already, the first one in a cast iron, which comes out very good. My second one is in a non-stick pan.
So I'm using a cast iron. It's probably gonna take a good 10 minutes for mine to heat through. I meant to turn it on earlier, but I
And
forgot.
get your oil in there because you need it to be hot.
Yeah, but I need my pan to get, otherwise the oil will just burn straight. I need to just get the whole pan hot, so I will be observing for just a little bit.
Are you cooking on an electric stove?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, I'm on gas, so.
Takes a while to warm up.
Well, just the cast iron takes time as well. It's one of those things that until the handle gets hot, I don't trust the pan's hot through and through, so that,
So you're dredging them in flour?
Yes,
Okay, so I need to. Do
Or
we,
is behind? He doesn't have his.
I got my
flour
pan
ready.
warmed up.
we're fine. We'll wait for the other lady. Don't worry, we're not in a rush.
It's like, so we're putting. Now, do I have to?
Put some oil in your pan.
Yep, my pan has got oil in it warming up. Now I
And
need
then
some
then you
flour in
should
a
have like a
bowl.
little shallow bowl of flour and dredge your eggplant in the flour. And I
Well,
usually
what's making it stick to it? It's wet enough?
wet enough, it'll stick.
Yeah, and this is the stage where normally you'd be dipping it in egg or something.
Well, normally you salt it, rinse it and pat it dry. You let it sit for about a half hour, but we're skipping that step.
Yeah,
So it's really coated.
Yeah,
You don't want a whole lot of coating on this.
yeah, so I got gluten-free flour.
Okay.
Well, you didn't put salt on it first, so it draws a lot of water?
No, that's why that's a shortcut. That's why this is healthier and quicker.
Oh
Okay.
yeah, it sticks pretty good. I mean, it doesn't have tons on it, but I was thinking I'd have to,
You don't want all of that. All those.
Yeah. Yeah.
so I'm dipping it in and just putting it on the edge of the pan here, ready for when my pan's warm.
So then have a plate ready on the side, because you're gonna take these out. Because you're gonna do this in batches. And I usually have a paper towel, and I'll put a paper towel on the floor to put the grease.
Soaks up the grease. Oh, well.
Yeah, they don't seem very wet, but when you dip it in the flour, the flour sticks to it really well.
So
You
I'm
feel it, it doesn't really feel wet.
putting it into the oil now, because I have my oils ready. And I'll turn up the heat a little bit on mine.
So you need it to be actually frying, yeah.
No, kind of, just browning and let it to cook through. I don't know how this is gonna go. This is my low burner.
Yeah, one mistake I've made so many times cooking is start cooking on a pan that's not warm yet. Now, there is some recipes that actually call for that.
I was just gonna say, I read somewhere where if you're gonna cook bacon in the oven, you put it in there in a cold oven and then start it. The oven up.
Yeah, because you very easily overcook it.
Yep.
So, but all right, let's try here. All right, slightly frying.
Yeah, I've got mine going, so depends. Sometimes I like to have, I like to get a little, you want to brown it,
So
Yeah.
what kind of oil are you cooking it in?
olive oil.
Okay.
That's another reason why you want to have it at low heat, because olive oil can't handle much heat, right?
Now, if you want, you can use coconut oil or like the spray oil. You're just gonna use a lot.
Right.
I wouldn't recommend Pam, but they have the aerosol coconut oil and avocado oils.
Yeah, I used to have, I need to find it. I used to have an actual spray bottle that you could fill.
Oh, yeah, I have one of those too. I
Yeah,
it goes rancid. It's really hard to clean.
yeah, me too.
It's hard to clean that tube where it sprays up.
Yeah, they call it a mister. They call it a mister. I've got one that I don't use anymore also.
This one.
Sounded like a good idea, but it's not.
Me too. I don't use it anymore either. It's a pain in the butt to clean.
Exactly.
I think it was a big 1980s thing.
I must have been, yeah. Yeah,
Well, I just saw everybody was buying those cans of spray oil, and I was like, I don't like, buying stuff that you have to do again and again.
yeah, if it's spray in a can, it's really cheap oil in there in it to start with.
And it's
What's the best
aerosol.
device for flipping these? Do you have just a fork or tongs?
I'm using a fork. I was using tongs, but it depends. I'm gonna switch my burner because this burner is a low burner. And put it on the higher one.
All right. Yeah, it soaks that oil right up.
And you think eggplant has so much moisture in it, it soaks it.
It's basically a sponge, right?
Sure acts like it. So it takes about 3 or 4 minutes on each side.
What do you think the reason to fry it is so it keeps moisture from coming in when you're cooking?
Well, if you're only gonna bake it in the oven and heat it up for 20 to 25 minutes, so.
Oh,
Yeah,
should we preheat the oven now?
Yeah, you should be preheating the oven to about 425, I'm sorry.
Well, yeah. I always forget that, so.
You need to post a sign over your stove or preheat the oven.
Just like,
Oh, it's in the recipe instruction.
well, now I'm actually spoiled because my commercial ovens are like giant air fryers.
Wow.
They're convection ovens.
I've never tried this in my air fryer. I wonder how it would work. We have one of those grills for outside. I wonder, that probably would make it easy to do the eggplant. And
Oh, I forgot to flip one. Oh, that looks good.
are they browning?
Yeah, it's weird. They're not browning very evenly, but I guess I didn't cut them very even.
No. It depends on your stove, how level it is.
But
So I think the other reason why we want to keep some of the skin is that it gets pretty flimsy once they start to cook. And if you
oh yeah,
have
like like baba ganoush where it just turns to mush.
well, it's hard to turn them. So you can use that as a place where you can turn it. And you'll feel that the eggplant is cooked.
Man, your mic's off now.
Mine?
Mine's on.
Mine
Oh,
might.
we can hear, I can hear.
Good. Yeah.
You just can't see me because it won't let me turn my video on.
We're not preventing you. Oh, I take that back.
Yeah, I turn it off.
Or turned it off. I turned it back
Well, when
on.
it's spotlighted like this, you can't see the other people easily anyway. But when you're ready to show something, I can spotlight you if you want for a second.
Well, I don't know. For me, I got a big monitor so I can see the spotlight and the other people down the side. So.
Oh, man.
So here's kind of what it should look like a little bit. It's just a little brown and you can tell that it's cooked,
It's soft.
very soft.
Do you think it's really necessary to do the flour?
I think it might absorb some of the moisture, quite honestly.
Yeah, I think what it does is it grabs the moisture and adds a little crispy to the
Oh,
outside.
Yeah,
Sharon said also put a paper towel on your plates to absorb the extra oil where you're putting the finished eggplant.
Well, I'm all environmental. I don't see it. I don't have any paper towels.
Okay, well, then you can't do it.
you haven't gotten those that you can wash.
I do, yeah.
Yeah, you could put a tea towel or something.
Apparently now I've got a slight slope because I got oil on this side.
Another one, how they're coming out like that, just when they're browned.
Your house is crooked, or your house is
It
sinking on
wasn't
one
like that
side.
before, so I don't know what happened recently.
Maybe it was an earthquake or something.
My stove is always lopsided. I need to adjust the feet on it.
I like mine really crispy, so I'm cooking them a little extra.
Yeah, I like them crispy also. But
Up now my pan's finally getting heat. I have to turn it back down. It was not hot enough. Yeah, that's the thing, is you have to be very careful with olive oil. It can
it'll burn.
it smokes at a much lower temperature.
I think my pan's finally starting to get.
Yep, mine is finally at temperature. I love this oil, this olive oil. It's so good. Nope.
Who's the woman that's was behind a little bit?
Lulu,
Lulu, how you doing? Is she there?
yeah, she's at the stove.
Sorry, my hands just finally getting to temperature.
Okay, cool. You'll catch up.
Honestly, mine is too. I shouldn't have fried that first batch. I should have waited. Because it was starting to fry just about when they're ready.
I'm trying to, yeah, I've learned this lesson way too many times. Yeah, my oil's not hot enough yet.
How do you test your oil? When I have flour, I just put a little pinch of oil.
I'm trying to
in there.
avoid, yeah, I try to avoid putting flour. I use the end of a wooden spoon.
I used to take a little bit, like a splash, not even a splash of water, and if it sizzles, it's hot.
Yeah, put your hand in the water and then just shake some off your fingers. and
Yeah.
let it go up.
I'm trying to keep my stove clean. I don't like things splattering, but I have found that if I just take a wooden spoon
Yeah.
and as it gets warm, and I could also see it start to shimmer. So I'll wait
When you
till it,
say wooden spoon, you just set the wooden spoon on the thing, or
can you see? I'll go ahead and show you, but I don't know yet. I don't think it's
What
quite
does it
hot.
do?
It fries.
It
It
fries
literally-
with a spoon?
It looks like it's frying like a piece of food would. So,
oh,
It's
okay. Here,
it's
let me
not-
spotlight you for a second.
all right, let me,
There you goes.
and I have a real hot spot. So it's just a regular wooden spoon and you put it in, and I don't know if you can see it, but it's not, there you go. It's starting to fry,
Okay.
but
Oh.
it needs to do that like immediately. So my oil's not quite hot enough.
Oh,
Plus-
that's a good tip. I never heard that one before. I like
I-
that.
Plus, I don't know how many times you can use a wooden spoon until it's not quite as effective. But how much oil did you put in, Chef?
You put in the beginning, you kind of like. Ooh.
I'm just barely putting any myself.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Because however much oil you put, it'll soak it all up.
Soak it up. You're gonna be adding oil, especially for the eggplant. You will not add as much oil, if any, for the chicken.
But yeah, I mean, I find out with however much oil I put in the pan, it soaks it all up. So I put like as little oil as possible.
Yeah, but then I hate to have to go through this process. So I have a goodly amount in mine.
Okay.
Maybe that's, plus see, I'm still able to hold the handle of my cast iron. So I that's why I know I kind of put the oil in a little bit early. Actually, this for me, my cast iron takes a good 15 minutes because I have just a real hot spot right there.
I've never cooked on an electric range, so I don't know.
Yeah, it kind of sucks.
I know my,
I really like my new induction burner. It works great.
Yeah, you can just get a single induction burner.
Yeah, that's what I have. Just a single induction burner.
and that's all you cook on?
Yeah. Ever since I got it, I haven't used any of the other burners, and I have electric stove. But I haven't used any other burners because, well, I only use one burner at a time normally anyway, but.
Oh, it's on your stove?
No, it's portable, but I sit it right on top of one of the burners on my stove. It's right next to the counter, so I can plug it in.
Oh,
Yeah, I
Works
love
great.
it.
Yeah,
I love
works
it.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah. The
Oh.
control, people say, oh, gas gives you better control. That's
No.
just an old wives' tale. The induction burner gives you much better control than gas.
Oh, of course, because it's instant.
Well, it's instant and you can set it to a exact temperature and or, on your gas stove, you just turn to the gas and you look at the flame and then, oh, that's kind of medium, but on the induction, you can say number 7 is what the temperature for saute or whatever it is you're doing.
Well, I mean, you can buy ones that have preset ones too.
Well,
Yeah,
mine's
mine's
got
like
like,
preset.
mine's got like 20 different settings on the temperature in increments of, whatever degrees.
When I was in Thailand, it basically had 4 or 5 buttons. Let's see. Fry, simmer, boil, and hot pot.
Yeah, so you can do, some of them have that. Those are little
So you can
shortcut
preset,
things.
you hit the preset button, and then there's a
Yeah.
button, a plus or minus, if you wanted to lower it or raise it a little from those
Yeah,
presets.
and the other thing good about induction, which is also good with gas, but not good with electric, is you can go from high to low immediately, and it doesn't, there's no residual, very little residual heat in the induction.
Yeah, that's
top.
one thing I liked about it, because in Thailand, there wasn't like,
Yeah, you're
places
cooking on
were
a
really
hot plate.
small.
Yeah, you're basically cooking on a hot
so,
plate.
but you
Yeah,
could turn it off immediately instead of taking the pan off the flame,
exactly, yeah. That's what I like
You
about
don't have
it,
to worry
too.
about having space.
Yeah,
My stove has 4 different types of burners. So I have like a very low simmer kind of a burner, then I have some high efficiency one where, man, it just boils water in about a minute.
yeah, it sounds nice.
Right. It's like,
You know, that aubergine you're making there, what is great, after you have fried it like this, take yogurt and put garlic in the yogurt and dip that in that dip, and that is delicious. A Turkish,
what do they call it? Baba ganoush?
I don't know what they
Well,
call
Baba
it. I know
ganoush
the Greek.
Is yogurt with garlic in it.
Yeah, yogurt and garlic, and dip your
Yeah.
aubergine in there.
Yeah, that's like baba ganoush.
Yeah.
What do you dip in
Baba
there?
ganoush, you roast it and then you mush it.
Oh, garlic.
Yogurt with garlic in it.
No,
Yogurt,
what-
garlic.
what
Like
do
you fry, like you fried your aubergine right now, right?
Yep.
Or your eggplant, you call it. Your
Yeah.
eggplant, and then you just have yogurt and garlic and dip it and then eat it like that. It's delicious.
Yeah, it sounds good.
Yeah.
Don't Italian people do that at the end of the harvest season?
It's a Greek and Turkish. They do that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
'Cause
yeah.
I had a friend I worked with that was Italian, and at the end of September, she, had a big garden. She would, this big roasting, she roasted up the garlic. They would dip bread and vegetables in it. And I thought that's what it was called, but. There might be different varieties.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
different name.
Yeah, it has a nice Turkish bread to it. That's great stuff.
Okay.
I'm frying up my last 3 pieces.
Wow. Okay, so I'm letting mine get a little browner now that my oil's better, so that's kind of what it's looking like.
Okay.
And now that my temperature is better, it's definitely browning better.
Yeah, I had some extra
But
ones.
it's hard to get olive oil temperature just right. It's like if it's too hot, it's smoking. And if it's too cold, it's not burning. And I mean, it's not burning, it's not frying.
Yeah, and I know they talk about olive oil and don't use it for high temp frying, but it's not really as bad as all of that,
Oh, and I think your pan has to be warm too.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's the key. You want to start out with your pan near temperature. And then you got to realize, I wish I would have taken my eggplant out. My eggplant's cold. So I put my eggplant in there and it brought the temperature of the whole pan right down. So it's not frying quite as furiously as I would have liked
Yeah,
it to.
I actually remembered that and purposely didn't put my eggplant in the fridge last night.
Yeah, because it doesn't really need to be
You don't
refrigerated.
need to refrigerate it.
They don't need
Yeah.
refrigeration, especially if you're gonna cook it
Yeah.
right away.
I almost put it in and I was like, wait, then
But one of the things to consider though, in this case, if you start out with a really hot pan, in my opinion, and it's cooler on the inside, you can crisp up the outside pretty better and not have the inside get quite as cooked as quickly. So, I mean, there's two schools of thought there. So,
That's a good point.
yeah, my pan's not hot enough, but it is electric. And as you can see, there's no oil on that side and it's real deep over here.
Your house is crooked too.
Yeah, this is true.
But it's frying.
You
Yeah, it
could
is.
just put a little, like Suzanne says, your stove probably actually has adjustable legs on the bottom. If not, you could shim it up.
Suzanne, I've added you to the spotlight because you keep saying, show me if there's a time you don't want to be shown, let me know.
Okay.
So
Don't get naked, Suzanne.
Oh,
Yeah.
darn it. No, no.
I think that naked cooking is not recommended when you're frying stuff.
Oh,
Well, the other night she was came in to trivia in the tub, I think she was, or someplace.
There's mine.
Oh, that looks nice. That's nice and brown and looks crispy.
Let's see it. Who
There it
done
is. Hold it up again.
That
Yeah,
looks good.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
nice and brown.
that is nice and brown.
Now I feel really funny. All mine are the wrong direction. See? They're all square.
Somebody.
I thought we were doing it backwards.
They're still gonna taste good.
Just like,
Yeah, It's still.
but no, I think if you have more, if you cut it in the circle, you have more skin on the outside and it holds better together.
Yep.
And it's harder to cut. I thought we were cutting it the other direction because it was easier. But anyway,
Wait, does that mean I'm already ready? Holy
I'm
cow,
sorry?
I'm not
you've
running.
got them all
late.
fried.
Yeah. What?
So tell us what kind of frying method you were doing to make it go faster.
I have a natural gas stovetop and I used a thin pan.
Okay, so I'm all done also.
All right.
Where's everybody else?
I've just got the last few to fry, so we can go ahead and start.
Okay, our next step is going to be to cut the chicken.
All right. Yep. I need tricks on how to thin cut chicken.
Get your plastic thing out to put on your cutting board so you don't contaminate your board.
Okay, hold on. I keep jumping in, I'm sorry. As I was just gonna say, make sure you have a separate cutting board so you don't contaminate. And here is my chicken breast. And we're gonna cut this on an angle also. And we're gonna start cutting from the top, which is where the point is.
Now I have a question for everybody. How many people rinse off the chicken when they get it out of the pan?
No longer. I don't do that. They don't recommend it. It spreads chicken stuff all over your kitchen.
So with this, we're gonna also do 12 pieces. So I'd like to cut my chicken in half lengthwise, so it gives me more, I can cut more even slices,
6 and 6.
right?
So you cut it from, are you,
The top. Oh, I already cut it off. So you're gonna have the chicken breast is like this, okay? You have on the bottom, you're gonna have like the bottom of your hand, and it's gonna come to a pointed at the top. You're gonna start at the top, and you're gonna cut on an angle.
oh, you're cutting on an angle.
Right. So here's the bottom of the chicken here, and I've cut this on an angle.
Okay. All right.
You look confused. I don't know your name.
Lulu, I am. So
So
I'm busy watching my eggplant. So I missed sort of what you said as far as.
So I already cut my chicken, pressed one of them in half. The chicken breast comes like this. So you have the bottom part, which is this, and then it sort of comes to a point. you're gonna start at the point that's the top and do the diagonal. You can do it left-handed or right-handed. It doesn't make a difference which direction you cut. Just do it on an angle.
And so you're
So
cutting
that-
strips.
Okay, so I'm not doing chicken breast, I'm doing chicken tenders. That's,
That's fine. That's
so
fine.
just slice them. How thick are the pieces? Are they as thick as the breast is?
Is it like this?
I'm not cutting it real thin. You gotta get 12 pieces out of a chicken, out of a pound and a half. If you cut it like that really thin, you're not gonna hit, it's gonna dry up, number one.
Mhm.
And, you know, you've got a pound and a half and you've got 12 slices to get out. So, you know,
So if you got 2 chicken breasts, you gotta cut 6 slices on each chicken breast, and whatever
Yeah.
that thickness is, that's what it is.
Okay, and I've got 3 breasts, so.
Yeah. so kind of just, you know, you need to get 12 slices.
3 breasts, what kind of mutant chicken is that?
It was a crazy one.
Okay?
So I have just a little bit over a pound. I wanted it heavier in the eggplant than in the chicken.
That's fine. I don't know if you were here when I said it before. A recepe is just
Yeah.
basis for what you're gonna do. You can do whatever you want.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, we've been over that before. We're good.
Okay, and then okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm
Lulu.
gonna show you my eggplant. Finally, my first batch is,
Oh, it looks good.
it's getting there, but it's slow going.
So what you're gonna do is this one, if you choose, you can season it with salt. I normally do not season my food with salt when I cook because I'm on a low sodium diet.
Yeah, me too.
I read somewhere that if you feel like you need to add salt to it, it's really, you need to add acid, you know.
That's what I heard too.
Okay, so we can start, you can start by dredging your chicken in flour.
Now, are we dredging it and putting it directly onto the pan, or?
Yeah, it's gotta be hot.
All right.
Add a little more olive oil if you need it. Chicken cooks a lot quicker than the eggplant.
My electricity just flashed. I hope the power doesn't go out.
Oh, no.
I know. I'm like, oh
Where do you live?
no. I'm in Missouri and it's a bright sunshiny day, so I don't know what that was about.
Where are you in Missouri?
South County?
Oh, because I'm right over in East Count. What is it? Metro East. I'm in O'Fallon, Illinois.
Okay, you're just over the river.
Uh-oh.
That's not good. What do you
It's not good.
What happened?
No, you guys are neighbors.
What town do you live in?
Melville?
Okay.
Now, I haven't turned my heat up, but I don't think I need to.
Have you ever heard of Big Cedar Lodge in Missouri?
Sounds familiar. Where is it?
I forget the name. It's in some small town, but my daughter, both my daughters and their husbands are going there for a vacation.
Hmm.
Oh, that'd be weird. I'm going with my daughter and her husband and baby to camping this weekend at a lodge, at a cabin.
Where are you going?
I don't remember the name of it. That's why it'd be weird if it was the same place.
Well, this is well, they have everything, but it's a golf resort. Apparently they have like 6 golf courses there and they're all golfers.
Oh, I wonder if it's that Great Bear Lodge or something?
Say that again?
Great Bear Lodge by Branson?
I think maybe it is. I've never been there, and it's a big fancy resort.
Yes.
That's all
So
I
we're
know.
just frying each one of these, just like we did the eggplants in batches, right?
Just to get it not cooked, basically, you know, these cook really quick. and just to get a little bit of a crust on them.
So we're not like, put them all in there and layer them, we're doing them.
Oh, we don't want to layer.
All right. I thought I didn't put very much flour, but by not dipping it in egg or water, it doesn't use very much flour.
No,
I like it. Like, I'm just like, I mean, I barely put enough flour to coat the bottom of this pan, and it's just perfect. There we go. All right, deflour my fingers.
and these cook fast.
And this is not like where you're serving this right now that it has to be cooked perfect. Because we're gonna bake it, right?
Gonna bake it, yep. And if you don't want to bake it right now, and you want to save it for later, you can. Like if you want to bake it before you have dinner tonight.
Oh, so yeah, it's just like, then you don't have to warm it up again.
Well, instead of, it calls to be put into the oven for about 20 to 25 minutes to finish cooking it. So if you're going to, you'll get it to a certain point, and then you put it in the oven. And if you're gonna have it for dinner tonight, you may want to wait. But then again, you know how things always taste better after they've cooked and kind of sat for a while.
Yeah, that's a lot of Italian food. There's like two versions, but most of them seem to be,
Make it
the
ahead
longer
of
you let it set, the better. All right.
How's it coming for everybody?
Just
Yep.
putting flour
That
on my
chicken coming off.
chicken.
I'm still on my second side of my second of 3 batches of eggplant, so
Okay,
that
Yep.
this is my normal state of cooking, so I'm okay.
I wasn't gonna say that, Lulu, but thanks for being honest.
Always. I'm used to it. I'm used to being at this way.
if I was doing it, because I'd probably be the same way if I was cooking along and someone was doing the instruction. Get rid of that flour.
All right. When you do the chicken like this, do you like it really browned or just barely cooked?
I like it, I don't like it really browned, I want it cooked, you want it cooked because, but I like it lightly browned, like something like this,
Yeah, so you're getting a little bit of flavor,
bit of flavor, but.
but
it's
you're
not-
mainly letting it cook in the oven.
Yeah, but you know, you still want the moisture, because chicken breast can tend to dry out faster than other.
But yeah, like
parts.
do like this seals the moisture in the chicken.
Yep. And you're probably seeing that this is not using as much oil.
Yep. Now, you've made this without the chicken. Have you made it with any other type of protein?
No, I've only done it with the chicken, or I've made it a lot without this eggplant. I mean, I guess, I don't know what else I could put in here. I wonder how it would be like if you made it with shrimp. Or something like that. But that would be good. I mean, I don't know, what other protein would you put in here?
Tofu.
How do you think it compares with or without the chicken?
Oh, well, I've always made eggplant parm without just eggplant parm. We love it. We love eggplant rollatini. I mean, we like eggplant.
You guys know who John DeLuise is?
Yep.
That old
Yeah.
actor. I have one of his cookbooks, and he has all these recipes from all his actor friends. But there's a picture of him kissing on an eggplant, and he says, "Eggplant is to an Italian what sex is to a aphrodisiac or whatever." I just about died, and it just shows him lovingly kissing an eggplant. It's really. I'll have to pull out that cookbook. He's funny.
Well, part of it in the US, we only tend to have like one or two types of eggplants. There's so
Yeah.
many different kinds.
There's so many different kinds. My mother didn't like it. We never had it.
Yeah, same here.
I never really liked it because they tend to be mushy too easy if you're not careful.
I remember, I think I was maybe in 8th grade or so. And my brother was in Cub Scouts, and we were at a Cub Scout picnic, and my best friend and her family were there, and her mother invited me to have lunch with them. And I said, "Oh," and they had these sandwiches, and her mother says, "Oh, it's eggplant sandwich." I said, "Oh, I think I have to eat it. My parents want me to eat it." And I don't know how it was cooked, but it just the thought of it. At the time, now I probably would love it, because I'm sure it was cooked, it was probably fried.
Well, I think part of it is if you cut them too thick, they tend to be mushy really.
Yeah.
The thinner you can cut them when you fry them.
But it's like now I made extra slices of eggplant so I can munch on it. Because I love it.
Oh,
What
well,
do you know when you're 13 years old?
you know that you know everything.
Otherwise, nothing, How would I like to go back in time and eat differently?
Now, when you are done with the chicken, and I don't want to jump too much ahead, but we're gonna have to take like some paper towel and some tongs and kind of scoop out the grease out of the pan to get all that flour and extra grease out.
Mine has
Oh,
like.
because you're gonna bake it in the oven in the pan.
We're gonna put more grease, more oil, olive oil in, but you don't want that flour to have that burnt taste at the bottom.
Ah, good
Yeah,
point.
mine has like next to no oil or. Part of it, I think, is the gluten-free.
Oh, I wonder how that's gonna be.
But there's not like a ton of stuff on the bottom of the pan. It's pretty well sticking to the.
So now we're done basically with the stove part and the cooking part. Now we're just gonna put it all together. So let me know when everybody's kind of to that point.
I just have 4 more pieces because I'm doing a double recipe, so. So I can assemble already.
So you're thinking it's gonna be good that you're.
No, I'm thinking I have to cook for my whole family.
Oh,
I never cook for just like 1 or 2 people. I always cook for extra. Let's see. Well, I have all this garlic.
we're not done yet.
I was just like, look at all that. I love these elephant garlics. It's so hard to get elephant garlic that has a good flavor though. Because
Okay, so Lulu, where are you at?
I'm just now prepping my,
Your chicken tenders?
and my last batch of eggplant went in, so that's gonna be another 10 minutes or so, but go ahead, I'm not too far behind.
Okay. So next we're going to we're gonna kind of heat heat the oil, bring the skillet back to medium heat. And we're going to crush our 4 cloves of garlic. And I'm crushing it into a little cup, so a little bowl. While my heat is oil coming up to heat.
Can we have too much garlic in this?
No, you know, it depends how much if you like garlic. Some people don't like garlic. You know, they can tolerate a small amount, but don't like it to be really
Well, if
garlic.
you cook it from like in the beginning, the taste tends to go away. Mostly. It's like I like how they do in Asian cooking where you add the garlic right at the end,
Yeah,
then you really don't need very much.
well, and it depends how fresh the garlic is also. I notice if you get old garlic, it has very little flavor. I have a garlic farm here where I can get fresh garlic in the season in summer.
Really?
You have to come back. It's like a half a
I'll
mile.
have to.
He's got 3 or 4 different kinds of garlic,
Ooh.
and it is good.
Yeah, I have a local organic farmer who I always get like, I don't know, 20 pounds or so from him. But it's
Yeah, this is good.
season is really short.
This is like, he's Czechoslovakian, and he has gotten some garlic plants from the Czech Republic. When we lived in New Jersey, we were about a mile from the Black Dirt region of the Hudson Valley in New York. And that's where they grew onions and garlic. And in the summer, you could drive through there at night and that's all you smelled was garlic and onions. It was so beautiful. Oh, it was wonderful.
Well, I suppose no vampires live in that area.
Yep.
All right, all my chicken's done. I'm ready.
Okay, so let's bring up 3 tablespoons of olive oil up to medium heat.
Yeah, I don't have almost, there's a little bit. I mean, if I scraped really hard, I might get a half a teaspoon of bits.
Good.
All right, olive oil to temp.
Right, 3 tablespoons.
I start doing all this garlic. All right, how we doing? Now, how do you serve this with anything like, you know, preferred wine or bread or salad or?
Oh, actually, always wine. Well, there's no question there. Tonight, we're having some friends over, you know, Mike and Mary Jo from Rotary, they're coming over. And I think I'm gonna make a salad.
All right, I put all this garlic in now.
Are you up to
Yep.
heat? Yes, put it up, put your garlic in. And it'll sizzle. Oh, I forgot. Does everybody have their tomatoes opened up? And
No, let me open mine up. Mine are pre-crushed.
okay,
So I noticed in your directions, you said crush by hand.
well, that's if you're getting the regular San Marzano because they come out that way. They said the first one that I made today, the first recipe. I had crushed tomatoes and that's what I used. And I use that. It's not as messy.
Oh, the whole house smells really good now.
Okay,
I don't know what it is about garlic, but
smells good. Mm.
all right, my can of tomatoes is open.
Okay, the next step is we add the tomatoes and a half a cup of water.
So I always use I use the can for water to rinse the can out.
I use the water, I put the water in first because it tempers it and you don't get as much splat as you do with the tomatoes. And then I put the tomatoes in.
Now can we raise the temperature now it's full of water, yeah?
Yep. And you're gonna let it simmer for about 10 minutes until the sauce thickens.
On Friday, I cooked African jollof rice with African student group. And they cooked the tomatoes for 6 hours to thicken.
I saw that. That looked yummy and fun.
Oh, it's phenomenally tasty. But yeah, it's like basically they cook the tomatoes until it doesn't really taste like tomatoes. It tastes like umami, you know, it has that really dark, rich taste. So
And here you can put some salt in. The recipe calls for a half a teaspoon if you so choose, and then a little bit of.
I turned mine all the way up and it's bubbling too much. I need to turn it back down.
Calls it eperocino. Basically, it's just red pepper flakes. And depending on how much you like, because it does get spicy.
So let me ask you, how much water is?
A half a cup.
Got it.
Well, that's interesting. Why we put a half a cup in and then we try to boil the half a cup back out.
Well,
Why
it thickens up. Well, we're not boiling.
don't- why don't we just not put the half a cup of water in and it's ready?
It doesn't say to boil a half a cup out.
No, but I mean,
It just mixes with the tomatoes and it helps, I guess it helps thicken this with the tomatoes, it works. Otherwise, the tomatoes might get too thick too fast. Because that tends to happen a lot.
yeah, because at medium heat, mine is like shooting like geysers of tomatoes. It's already pretty thick.
Well, you know, everybody's stove cooks differently too.
Yep.
So while that's cooking, if you do have your basil, you'd want to chop it up,
Otherwise,
kind of just roll it into a little, kind of like a little pea pod thing, and then just chop it.
and if you don't, just add some Italian seasoning to the sauce.
You could add Italian seasoning, dry oregano, you know, whatever you want, really.
I've been going on a sage kick. And a lot of my Italian sauces, I've been putting a little sage in it.
Well, this one, I like fennel in Italian cooking also, gives a nice flavor.
Oh, the other one is what? Celery seed. I've been really liking celery seed. It's like,
Oh, you know that spice store that I gave you those spices from?
yeah.
It closed.
You weren't buying enough, huh?
No, he had to get surgery. I guess he has cancer and it's a terrible thing. So he's gonna try to maintain an online store. He just can't function.
Well, I think in most cases, a lot of stores now you don't really need the walk-in store. We've shown that through the pandemic that, a lot of us have no problem, even if it's just from a store down the street.
Yep.
Before it was always like, we have to go into the store to look at it. Now we're like, well, I need some curry. I don't have to go and look at the package of curry to order it.
Well, some things. Vegetables I still like to choose because during the pandemic, if I ordered grapes or something and I got really soft grapes, I like crisp
Yeah.
grapes. And,
I'm like that way with fresh vegetables and then cloves, of course. But anything else,
yeah, because chicken breast is chicken breast. But, and pretty much everything else is the same. It's just vegetables I found I had a really hard time.
although I am part of a CSA, community supported agriculture,
Uh-huh.
where you basically sign on with a farmer and they have an online store where I can just order stuff. And
Yeah, we had that in New Jersey, but it was not an online store. That was before.
well, now it's a new version. Before, you would just get whatever they would send you. Now with this online store, I can order exactly what I want.
That's nice.
It's always the vegetables, they're the farmer, so they know what's something good, and whatever I get is always better than I would imagine anyway. So now it's
Well,
not like there's no middleman to try to like trick me into buying it.
Well, I still like the farmer's market. And then I found that there's another farm down in Millstock, which is not too far from here. And you can get all your eggs there, and they have meat and produce there. So I'm gonna give them a try.
Yeah, I would have never thought a couple years ago. I was just at a fundraiser for a youth group, and they actually had in the silent auction a year's supply of eggs. And people are bidding hard and fast on that. And a couple years ago, you would never thought someone would like buy a bunch, bid on, eggs would go expensive.
Well, eggs are like $3 for 18 eggs I've gotten here.
But would you ever thought of getting a mail order service where you get eggs every week?
There's too many farms around here where I can get fresh eggs.
Yep.
All
right.
That's why I wouldn't do that. Okay, so I've added my basil to let that cook.
Just like that was the only thing I forgot to get was basil.
Well, you could.
I have one I grew and dried myself, so it's not too bad.
That's good.
All right, I think I'm ready to.
Okay, how's everybody else doing?
Doing some layering. My sauce is pretty thick, but you always can cook it down more.
So you need a half a cup of basil. Or what? No, quarter cup, I'm sorry, quarter cup.
Of what?
Quarter cup of fresh basil.
Okay.
I don't know what the equivalent would be for.
Dried is probably at least twice that, no?
No, it'd be less.
Oh, dried is concentrated?
Yeah.
Would be less.
Okay.
Doesn't.
That shows that the cold is going to my head.
I would think dry would be at least half of what fresh would.
Not quite that much in my opinion, but you don't want to overpower it, I'm sure Fred could Google it.
Google it, Fred.
I don't Google, I good search.
You what search?
Good search. Every time I do a search, a half a cent goes to the nonprofit of my choice.
So what else goes in the sauce?
That's it. The
So it's
basil,
just,
the
it's
fresh,
just tomato?
the fresh tomatoes and fresh basil.
Well, it was the garlic was fried.
Or
and
if
the-
you choose to use another type of Italian style seasoning, you can use that.
Oh,
The
and
canned
red
tomato.
peppers, red peppers.
Oh,
Fresh red peppers.
oh,
Yeah,
I'm sorry. Okay.
it's all good.
Yeah, fresh red peppers. And kind of see how you want that to be, because that can get a little overpowering. So if you don't like it really spicy, just put a few in.
Yeah, especially the one I made. I bought the whole peppers and it's got all the seeds in it. So you can get the ones with the seeds or without. The seeds are definitely spicier.
Oh, yeah, that's where all the heat is.
And in my case, I mean, it's just crushed. Now, if you took this and ground it, oh my goodness, it'll be really spicy. I've done that before where I just grind it right before I put it in something.
Yeah,
And then if I'm grinding the seeds, you better use a lot less.
I just use dry in this, so.
Yeah, I'm thinking next time I do this, I'm gonna try to not put the water first. I don't know, that just seems funny. We're putting a half a cup of water to then boil it back out.
Well, you're not boiling it out, you're adding to the sauce.
Right. Oh, that's so nice and beautiful, thick. Right. All right. So let's see here. Probably need tongs.
That's good.
Are we ready to do some layering?
Okay, is everybody kind of to that point yet? Where we can start to the final assembly?
Sort of, but go ahead, because I'll follow.
Looks like Lulu's actually hand crushing them like you said to do.
Yep.
So,
Because this is super cool.
So basically now we're just going to be working with the eggplant and the chicken, and we're gonna be shingling it. And I usually start around the edges of the pan and start with a piece of eggplant.
you keep it boiling while you're doing it or you shut it
Oh,
off?
no, why torture yourself?
I actually took out a baking pan thinking we were gonna put it in a baking pan, but we're just
Yeah.
putting it.
We're just gonna we're gonna put it in the oven like this.
Okay, so I turned off the,
Mm-hmm.
and then what do you put down first? Does it matter or?
I put the eggplant down. You can put chicken. It's just eggplant gives it a bit of a resting spot.
Well, yeah, I guess if you put the chicken, it'll probably be heavier and soak right in, huh?
So you're gonna, yep. So you're gonna just shingle it all the way around, and you'll have a couple pieces that you can put in the middle.
So am I putting it all in?
Yep.
So I don't try to save any for another layer like lasagna.
No, it's a single layer. If you have some of the smaller pieces of the eggplant and you have extra ones, you may want to, just double up.
Oh, that's so beautiful. I need to take a picture of that.
Well, I hope you all like it.
All right.
What's not to like? It's gonna be delicious. I just know it.
All right. So once I layer all the eggplants,
Well, you're gonna alternate between the eggplant and the chicken. I'm sorry, I should have mentioned.
so I shouldn't have put all the eggplant down.
No, you alternate the chicken and the eggplant. So just stick the chicken in between the eggplant. And, move it outward. I'm sorry. This is my first time doing this.
What do you mean, cooking online?
So I need a quick recap. I'm
lot.
crushing my garlic
Right.
and leave it large.
No, you're gonna crush it. Do you have, you can smash it, or if you have a
But
garlic.
am I running a knife through it once I smash it?
Okay,
Okay, just, you want it in pieces.
yeah, you want it, I would smash it with the side of your knife.
Okay. And then heat up the 3 tablespoons of olive
Olive oil, right.
Got it. And are you browning it at all, or are you just,
You're gonna brown it a little bit.
So alternating eggplant and chicken, like a
Right.
lasagna.
So this is how it should look, if you can see it, before we put the cheeses on. And I put in the middle, I put, two
Oh, so
things.
you're not doing it like lasagna, you're putting it
It's-
eggplant with
it's-
the chicken in between it.
Yeah, we're shingling it,
Got it.
like it goes. See? Can everybody see this? Ooh,
Yeah.
Almost, the camera almost saw it too.
oh no, my laptop almost saw it.
It just like. Which cheese do you put first? Let's see here. I think you put the Parmesan first, right? Because you want the other one to melt on top.
Yeah, you just sprinkle the cheeses together, basically. And then I like a lot of cheese, so I do have some fresh mozzarella, which I will put on there also. I just like a lot of cheese. Hold that up there, so they.
So are you just slicing the cheese or shredding it?
Well, I have both shred and sliced.
Okay.
Up, go closer there.
Oh,
There's what it looked like when it was done.
So you can see here is from the fresh mozzarella, and I have the Parmesan and the low moisture package. I use both, a little bit of both. And I just mixed the Parmesan and the shredded mozzarella together.
And I can attest that it's a really, really good combination.
nice.
All right.
I was a little startled at how expensive the Parmigiano Reggiano was. I did not get that brand, but I got that type of cheese.
The which one?
The Parmigiano Reggiano,
Well, that stuff is ridiculous, isn't it?
I tell you.
Well, we have a university that is a agricultural university here in Minneapolis. And they've got a meat and dairy sales room, and on Wednesdays, you can buy food from them.
Ooh, nice.
So they make their own Parmesan, which is about $8 a pound.
Oh, wow.
That's good.
So I get all my cheese from there.
We have a new Italian deli in town, so I just went
Nice.
there.
I like it that we didn't make that much of a mess.
No,
Are you serious? I got crap all over the place again.
so then basically the last steps, you're just going to sprinkle the cheese. And like I said, I combined the two cheeses.
What do you mean sprinkle? I poured it.
Well,
I thought we liked cheese.
I know, but you don't want it all in one spot.
My whole top is completely covered with cheese.
Mine
And
is,
how much cheese is it?
so you use a cup and a half of mozzarella if you're using the shredded. And it's
Half a cup of the other.
of the Parmesan. But it depends, if you like the taste of Parmesan, you may want to add more.
Or just save some of the Parmesan and you sprinkle it on it right before you serve it.
That's true.
I
Yep.
just bought like 1.5 pounds of or mozzarella and 1/2 pound of Parmesan.
Well, I'm gonna do my fresh Parmesan or fresh mozzarella on it also.
Quick question. So my onions are sauteed, add the water and tomato sauce? Or
Yeah, I add the water first to kind of tempers the grease better than just tomatoes.
I do the exact opposite because I wash the can out and then use that water.
I wash the can out into the tomatoes, so it's all
Okay.
together.
Okay.
Okay.
I just find that if you do water first instead of tomatoes, you don't have a big splash factor.
Oops,
Whereas,
I missed a tomato.
No.
oh,
There's one whole tomato floating around in there.
Oh, when you,
tell the person who gets that, they're the winner.
Too late. I got it. I'm just running. now.
you're the winner.
It's like the finding the baby in the king cake.
When you bake it, you don't bake it covered, right? You
Oh.
bake it open.
You bake it until browned and bubbly all over, 20 to 25 minutes.
And so I'm gonna let this sauce come to a simmer and then 10 minutes or so.
Yes, let it thicken up.
And I have just, I'm just gonna use dry basil. Is that okay? Or that's all I have.
Yeah, or if you want
That's
to
what
use
I use.
Italian seasoning, feel free. Like I said, you don't need to use. You need to, you can do what you like the taste of it.
Well, once again, I kind of like to try the recipe as, indicated
Okay.
initially, and then the next go around I will adjust if I.
Well, and that's what I did too. When I first made it, I followed the recipe, and then as I made it several times after, I kind of, doctor it up a little bit here and there. But the recipe as it is very good.
And because it's hard for me to get fresh basil or it's really expensive, I tend to only use that afterwards. I'll put it on right before I serve it, I'll chop up a little basil, a sprinkle of olive oil and a sprinkle of Parmesan on it and serve it that way.
Well, if you're not going to cook yours right away, you could take a ride over and come and get my basil that I have left. And then you can stay for dinner.
Just like,
So are you getting in the car?
What are you eating?
No.
Those what?
all right. I have mine in the oven already, 425 for 20 minutes.
20 to 25 or until it's bubbly and brown. I like to make it
Because
brown.
technically well, the chicken isn't quite cooked because I just browned it on both sides. But everything else is completely cooked.
It is, and I
Yeah.
mean, chicken cooks fast anyway.
Right.
So, just to let you know, the research I did on dried versus fresh herbs is a 1-to-3 ratio. So how many
Oh.
tablespoons are in a quarter cup? Is it 2 tablespoons? I always forget this equivalency.
Let me get my equivalent thing.
So here I've
Look
got
at-
this thing. I've got this conversion chart on my fridge. Let's see if it's
I
up
have this one on my back of my,
spatula. So what do we need?
so a quarter cup is 2 ounces, 4 tablespoons,
Yep.
or 12 teaspoons. So I want 1/3, so I want 4 teaspoons of dried basil.
There you go. You mapped that quick.
This is such a dandy. I love this little guy.
Ooh, that garlic is potent.
But all right, that's it.
Oh, and one other thing I wanted to add, aside from, a salad, maybe some garlic bread or garlic cheese bread would be a
That would be good.
combination.
Because really, you don't have any bread in here, because if you didn't bread it.
Yeah, there's really
there's
no,
hardly- and there's
very
no
little
pasta-
carbs in this.
pasta.
I mean, eggplant, I guess, is carbs. Right.
Okay, I opted to go with just 3 teaspoons. As far as seasonings or herbs and stuff, I sometimes like to go on the lighter side, so I'm not just crazy overpowered.
Yeah.
But that's,
So that means how much of the red pepper flakes are you putting?
I just kind of went dash, 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 dash. So maybe
Oh, you did?
a little more than a 1/4 teaspoon.
Okay, because I just did like a real little dash, because it does, we don't like it real hot. My husband does not like it hot, so.
I don't either. And I noticed with the dried pepper flakes, they take time to hydrate. So if you eat this when it comes out of the oven, it's going to taste different than if it sits in those
The
peppers.
longer it soaks, the hotter it gets.
Exactly.
I put about 3 tablespoons in mine.
Yeah, but
Okay.
you've got an iron
Oh,
stomach.
you're,
I like
But
it
I
spicy.
mean, most people are used to the red pepper flakes on pizza.
Yeah.
And so they're just sprinkling it on and eating it. When you cook it again, like
it
Liz
hydrates
said,
and it really,
as it hydrates, it gets hotter and hotter. So don't put as much as you think you would put on a pizza slice, because that hasn't been hydrated at all. So
it gets hydrated in your stomach. That's when you get the heartburn.
just like, all right. Sharon already did the trick of making another batch beforehand because she has dinner guests. So this is one of those professional shows. We put it in the oven and bam, it comes back out.
I'll be right over. I'm going to bring dinner
Come
guests.
on over.
Or are you gonna come up for dinner?
It's just like,
in front of it?
and pick up Lulu on the way. I'm 2.5 hours. Lulu's a half hour. So
No,
this is
you're-
the closest we've ever been.
You're
So
only down-
We should, the 3 of us, do a cooking show together.
That would be fun.
Do a 3-course, or I'll do drinks.
it's like,
Like, what are those parties they call where you go to somebody's house?
Impressive.
Yeah,
aggressive party.
aggressive cooking show.
All right. Does anybody have any final questions for Sharon? Or Sharon, do you have a final thing? And then we'll, of course, stick around and eat together and chat. And
I hope you enjoy it.
Thank you.
I'm
It
looking
was,
forward
it
to
was
eating it.
fun. We have to go, I think we're gonna do a salad, and I think I like the garlic bread
Yeah.
too with that.
And wine.
And wine,
We have a lot of wine.
and wine.
A
All right.
nice bold red. Yeah.
thank you so much, Sharon, for stepping outside your comfort zone and cooking on the internet.
Well, actually, it was fun once you got into it. You forget that the whole world.
It's like we're cooking together in your kitchen, no? And we're not in your way.
And you know, you're the only person I let cook in my kitchen.
It's just like,
Which
So-
is interesting because she won't let me cook in her kitchen.
it's like,
She'll let you clean, right?
No, he
No.
passed the test. When he was here, he cooked, and he passed the test where he didn't take every pot and pan out of everything and
Just
go
like-
all over.
yeah, I think it should be a requirement. Whoever cooks also has to clean so they don't make a big mess. Now, not clean the eating dishes, but the cooking stuff so that, you make less of a mess.
I usually clean as I cook.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just we didn't do that today.
I try to when I'm not behind.
Just like, all right.
This one will freeze. This one I'll cook for when they come.
Oh, no, eat the other.
No, we'll have this. This one's not, I'm not gonna cook this one.